Hey guys, John V here with PhoneArena, and this is our first look video between the HTC U12 Plus and the LG G7 ThinQ. The HTC U12 Plus is very much a worthy Android smartphone, rich with specs, hardware, and beauty all on its side. But does it have enough to steer prying eyes away from the already coveted LG G7 ThinQ? There's certainly a lot to love about the designs of both smartphones. They feature all-glass constructions that allow them to dazzle under certain viewing angles. And while the LG G7 ThinQ appears enticing with its vibrant color, we'll have to hand it to HTC for one-upping its rival with two particular paint jobs, the translucent blue and flame red options. They're certainly different and very cool looking to say the least. So while the HTC U12 Plus captures our attention aesthetically, LG certainly doesn't disappoint either because it's able to include a 3.5mm headphone jack. That's something you're not going to find with HTC's design. And as far as their constructions are concerned, both feature IP68 ratings. Over in the specs department, the U12 Plus features a 6-inch Quad HD Plus Super LCD 6 display, 1440 x 2880 pixels, while the LG G7 ThinQ has a 6.1-inch Quad HD Plus Full Vision display at 1440 x 3120 pixels. Even though the G7 has the higher resolution between the two, there's not one that's particularly more detailed than the other when you look at them from normal distances. But we do notice that there's more distortion at wide viewing angles with the U12 Plus's display. Then again, there's also the matter of the G7 ThinQ's notch, which can be seen as a distraction of sorts to some people, but in our opinion, it's narrow enough to not become one. Plus, there's a way to mask it. Superficially, both handsets are running their slightly tweaked skins on top of Android 8.0 Oreo. While they fundamentally achieve the same core Android experience, they're shaped by some of their novel features. For the HTC U12, that includes its Edge Sense features, where you squeeze or tap on the sides of the phone. As for the G7 ThinQ, it taps into the world of artificial intelligence. They're both pretty responsive with their performances. That's because they're powered by the Snapdragon 845 chip. The G7 is accompanied with 4GB of RAM, while the HTC U12 Plus has a little bit more generous 6GB of RAM. Now both handsets come with 64GB of internal storage capacity, but you could obviously supplement that by their micro SD card slots. You're going to find dual rear cameras with both phones, but they have slightly different implementations. With the HTC U12 Plus, it breaks down to a 12MP wide-angle ultra-pixel camera, and then you have a 16MP 2x optical zoom one. In contrast, the G7 ThinQ features a pair of 16MP cameras. It breaks down to a main 71° f1.6 lens, and then you have a wide-angle 107° f1.91. So essentially, with the U12 Plus, you're going to have that telephoto option, while with the G7, you're going to have a wide-angle composition. However, it should be noted that the two are capable of capturing portrait shots. It's really tough to say which of the two we like better, but for hardcore enthusiasts who are very particular about the composition of their shots, they may want to gravitate to the LG G7 ThinQ because of its rich manual controls and cine effects. Indeed, there's a compelling reason to choose the LG G7 ThinQ over the HTC U12, but it'll ultimately come down to performance. So if the HTC U12 Plus can do that, then it has a fighting chance. Even though they're almost equal in terms of their sizes, the U12 Plus packs the larger 3500mAh battery, while in the G7 you have a 3000mAh one. So even though there's an advantage to HTC's offering, who knows how it's going to perform in the long run. It's worth mentioning though that the U12 Plus lacks wireless charging, which is a convenience that you're going to find with the G7. These two flagships seem technically impressive on so many levels, but a lot of what will attract attention from consumers is pricing. Currently, the G7 is slated to sell for around the $750 ballpark range at full retail price through the various carriers here in the US, while the U12 Plus will be priced higher at $799. These aren't necessarily cheap smartphones we're talking about, but it's going to be a slightly tougher sell for HTC considering how the G7 ThinQ does feature wireless charging and a headphone jack. Add to that, these two basically match each other spec by spec, so it's going to be a slightly tougher sell for the HTC U12 Plus. Then again, its eye-popping new paint jobs might be just the kind of thing to get consumers to pay attention to it. And that is it for this video, guys. If you want to learn more about either handset, you can check out our website, PhoneArena.com. This is John V, signing off.